3, 2, 1. What's going on, everyone? You're watching Ash on Comics. My name is Ash. Here is today's comic, Powers of 10, number 2. Joining me, as always, is Stan the Man, trusty sidekick Forky. You're not a fork kick, you're a sidekick. And he's a channel intern, and he's the expert on all things trash. We couldn't live without Forky. Today, I just cooked myself up a big bowl of spaghetti. Love spaghetti. And I'm going to read myself some Powers of 10. Everyone's already done it, posted their videos, got them up by like Wednesday morning. Got to get those clicks. I don't do that personally because I don't want to try to capture the audience of people who aren't getting the book and just want to be spoiled. So I'm not trying to say anything negative against people who do. And there's nothing wrong with getting clicks. There's my dog drinking. I don't know if you can hear her. She's loud as heck to me. She's eating her dinner too. So you're like, Ash, that looks different than your normal dog. That other dog's not my dog. See, that's the trick. There's a whole backstory to that. Whoa. So I'm gonna watch this. I'm gonna eat some spaghetti. I'm gonna enjoy, and then we're gonna talk about it. There is a chasm between you and I, Charles. A gap that cannot be crossed. With each passing day, I fear it never will be. Magneto. We're back, and it's X0, the X-Men, year 1. And we're on Island M in the Bermuda Triangle. You know, where Bendis put the Fortress of Solitude, because, you know, that's where you hide things, right? Charles Xavier is walking around, he's wheeling around. He just hasn't got his legs fixed. And they're there to talk to Magneto. If you remember what happened in previous issues, Moira says, your dream, what if it's, it's real? It's not a dream if it's real. And she's had many lives. This is her 10th life of Moira McTaggart. And she's decided she's got to try something completely different, off the wall. So here they are with Magneto. I'm here for you, old friend. I cannot tell you how much of it would please me to know that you and I would stand side by side in the coming days. But I have learned hard lessons and no longer believe there is a place in this world for both your dreams and mine, old friend. And what if I told you we were both wrong? That both our dreams are fleeting and too small for the coming days. I would find that hard to believe. You losing your faith. So, and he's like, you tell me, McTaggart, you're the expert in all this. What's going on? She's like, well, open your mind to me. And Magneto acquiesces. This is kind of a weird part, though. Charles Xavier's like, please, just this once, trust me. Okay. Never mind the fact that Charles Xavier once crippled you. Remember X-Men number 3? When he turned you into a mindless, babbling idiot to save the world from the menace of Magneto? Trust him for once. Okay, rewind. This is Moira 10. That history, presumably, could have been a completely different Moira existence. That maybe that never happened. So, I'm going to give it benefit of the doubt, and here we see the many lives of Moira. Look. There's where I started collecting comics, right around the 200s, when Magneto was leading the X-Men, and the Avengers came to arrest him for all of his war crimes, and then they get the first Avengers versus the X-Men, or the X-Men versus the Avengers. The real one, not the stupid AVX stuff. The real one. Man, that was a hell of a crossover. We get to see the Sentinels, we get Magneto facing his death. We get to see Apocalypse. We get to see stuff that I've never read because there's 20 years of X-Men I haven't read. You're a mutant? And all those lives, was it real? Yes, I'm a mutant, and that was as real as it gets. Why would you show me all that, all the great failures? And there's like, because her truth is life-changing. And they're echoing a sentiment that she said earlier. It's kind of poetic. We have a plan. It's ambitious and long-term. Join us, Eric. Join me. I won't acquiesce to sympathy or doubt, Charles. I won't give an inch. I will check you at every moment of weakness. If you falter, know that I will not. I would expect nothing less, offers his hand. And they shake hands, and now we get a 2-page spread of credits. Here's the superstars that have brought you this comic. Focus. All right. Now we're at X1, the Xmen Year 10, Krakoa. This is where it all started, at least the series. And why won't it focus? Okay, so what am I looking at here? I don't know, Scott. Looks like a Sentinel to me. It's like... Have you heard of them? Sorry. Taking a dig. A nightmare, a walking one, and the beginning of the end, unless I'm mistaken. Those are plans for a mother mold. A master mold that makes other master molds in orbit around the sun. We saw that in the very first issue. And then here we see, I'm just going to call him Maker Xavier, just to identify. We don't know if he's actually the Maker. We're just led to believe that he might be. And he's talking to Scott. It's like, we got to get rid of this. Magneto, of course, is part of it. They're talking about who's part of it. We already know from the first issue that it's like an amalgam of everyone from like S.H.I.E.L.D. to Hydra, AIM. Everyone is there to basically have an end game, a doomsday device should mutants get out of control. And it's like, what's the plan? It's really quite simple. We cannot let the mother mold come online. No, I said, what's the plan? That's an objective. That's not a plan. But sorry, that's me ad-libbing. But it's just funny. It's like, what's the plan? To win. That's not a plan, Charles. It's a good thing you don't lead the X-Men. So there's a couple cool lines of dialogue in here. And the whole thing comes down to Scott's kind of like, I'm not sure what we're going to do. It's the next generation of Sentinels. I don't get it. What's going on? And then they're like, we believe this is where Nimrod becomes operational. And Scott's like, oh, damn. Now, so those of you who aren't old school, longtime X-Men fans, Nimrod is a Sentinel from the future, as many Sentinels are, but Nimrod is like from the further future. He's sort of like the super Sentinel, and he also around issues 200 he comes into play, and he only gets beaten by I'm really sketchy on this, so if Doc's watching my videos, someone who's more memorable than I am or has better memory, I'm pretty sure he's only beaten because Rachel Summers, Scott's daughter, and because Jean Grey's not around because she actually was dead, and it used to be people stayed dead at least for a while. Anyways, Rachel Summers was Phoenix, and they were able to just barely get away from Nimrod. Nimrod's supposed to be super scary. He is really scary. He's kind of been dulled down over the decades because they just used him too much, and it's like, oh, this one guy that we needed the Phoenix to beat, now he's just kind of shows up and we beat him. But that's my Nimrod, and so to me, I read this and I'm like, oh, damn. Scott's like, oh, shit. Listen to me, Scott, says Xavier. They have to be stopped. And he's like, I don't know if such a thing can be done, says Magneto. And Scott says, does it need doing? Yes, says Xavier. Then it will be done. Oh, okay, damn. Then we go to X2, the X-Men, Year 100, Asteroid K. We see Wolverine talking, well, boss, Cardo and Rasputin say they succeeded, which I suppose is good news. But the bad news is Silo Bell and Percival aren't making it home, and without Percival's blackout abilities, I'm not exactly sure if the information still benefits us. I don't see how we can make it back into the city. You will have to forgive him. War has a way of limiting his perspective. It is a shortcoming of that seed, but the benefits, well, what do we have that is not a product of its spoils? Do you really have it? Yes. And then we see it's Apocalypse. Reduced down to their essence, the machines are composed of pure information, a repository of knowledge, blah, 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 comic books. And it's pretty cool. He says, he does this whole diatribe, and he's like, give me your eyes, children. For this, I would have sacrificed all of you. It means that much. Oh, damn. All right, cool. It's like, and then we see Nimrod the Lesser, who's kind of a quirky robot, and he's talking. He's got some cool. They stole an indexing machine. This is disturbing, I will not lie. And I will tell you that because, contrary to what your kind has been led to believe, I am not programmed for truth. I could lie all day if I wanted to, just for the pleasure of it. But here I am denying myself the joy of the half-truth, the bliss of the fiction, and the pure delight of falsehood. And why? I'll tell you. And then this guy's like, no, I'd really rather you just keep talking to yourself. This guy's like, well, what the fuck are you doing, dude? And Nimrod just glare at what? And then he immediately catches him. I apologize. It's been a costly day and I'm tired. And you, my other human friend, are you weary as well? Of course not, Nimrod. I don't believe you. Zack! It just fries him. And at this point, this is a very important deal. He makes a point to say human friends. These are not mutants. These are humans. The original Sentinels, if you're not in the know, wouldn't hurt humans. They're programmed to destroy mutants. They're basically like Terminators, but mutants, only mutants are the target. So the fact that you have these Sentinels now that are willing to just roast humans for displeasing them, so Nimrod is off the chain, literally. Like, this is a whole new ball game. So Nimrod has his little villain speech, he talks and whatever, and you can read it yourself. Here we have the Xmen now on Asteroid K, still planning stuff. Apparently Magneto's still alive. Cypher's still alive. We find out that he's been turned into this plant body, and he talks about how the Cypher died a long time ago, that this body doesn't no longer inhabit them. We see, I forget this character's name. What's his name? Zorn. We've seen him before. Anyways, some of these characters are still alive. Apparently Magneto doesn't age. Like, this guy's around World War II. So, man, I gotta get better at judging when my battery's gonna die. I see it's like, oh, it's getting low, it's gonna die. I think I got a few more minutes, and all of a sudden it's just like, boom, dead. Anyways, so where was I? Magneto, talking about his age. These guys are basically just all talking about a bunch of mumbo-jumbo stuff, a lot of world building, trying to give you the history. They're talking about this mission that they went on. They got that little chip that Mystique had, like, or was it Mystique? No, not Mystique. There's multiple missions. This girl, Rasputin, they did that whole mission, and they got away with the information. It wasn't actually the information. It was the information that would lead to the information, because machines store their... It's a lot of techno mumbo-jumbo. It reads well. Kirkman does a good job keeping you interested. I know it doesn't sound as good when I'm sitting here to describe it, but I just need to tell you what this is all about. I can't read through it. So they're like, "Yo, right here, we found where the information is, blah, blah." Okay, cool. Moving along. And Wolverine is like, "You know the problem with this, right? There's not going to be anyone left to use it." They're talking about the information. "We only succeeded in getting this far because Percival made us invisible to the machines, and now we won't have that. We'll have to fight our way in, hold them off while we get to the thing, and then fight our way out. It's a suicide mission. You understand that, right?" And then Zorn's like, "I've never been more excited for anything in my life. I now know we were never going to stop the machines, the technology, the future. It's unavoidable. The question I have is why it's always aimed at us, mutants. To test us? To see if we're fit to survive? We will go and take what we need, and then we will return." It's like, bulls. This is a promise whose guaranteed is assured, for I will lead you. Just like Apocalypse is a badass. It's just like, I'm going, so therefore victory is assured. All right, then we get a 2-page infographic. Whew, and it just keeps getting complicated. It's about Nimbus. So Nimbus was this planetary thing that they launched, and they wanted to create a super intellect, blah-blah-blah-blah-blah, and it launched through, and it came down to orbit, and boom, and now it orbits around out here. You can see this is Neptune's orbit. And then there's Pluto's. I think there's a little astronomy tidbit here, if you didn't know. I didn't. This is pretty cool. Pluto and Neptune. Sorry, Pluto and Neptune share who's the furthest planet away. And don't give me the whole Pluto's not a planet bullshit. Sometimes Neptune's the furthest, sometimes Pluto's the furthest, because I don't know if you can see their orbits. They're not even. So it's pretty interesting fact. Not a lot of people know that. X3, the Xmen, year 1000. So Nimrod, did it work? And this is Nimrod the Greater, the little robot thing. Normally, civilizations of our maturity only attract universal predators. This is because their perceived value as the system is found, blah, 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 blah. Great, my dog's barking. So at this point in human society, mutant society, or whatever, I'm still not even sure entirety of what's going on with this librarian woman, if she's a mutant or a human. I don't know. It's not real clear. We just know it's 1,000 years in the future. Nimrod's around. This is civilization. This whole mumbo jumbo that you see here talks about how, Earth civilization was trying to make contact with a Type 3 civilization. It's too much to just talk about here. You got to read it yourself. So they're trying to attract a Type 3 civilization. They're trying to do something. Like, did it work? I think we're about to find out. And then we see this through space as something's coming. We see this weird, she's just looking, something's forming. We phalanx ate your world mind. Nimbus is a world mind, I guess. And then we see this. They fought for sovereignty and lost, but we, Phalanx, saw the whispering gods behind it. We, Phalanx, have heard your message. Now hear ours. What do you seek? Ascension. And then we see civilization. We see this. We don't know what that is yet. This is, now we get back to infographics. The types of societies, planetary, galactic scale of interstellar species based on a measurement of society's intelligence, or SI rating. It tells what an SI-1 rating is, SI-10, SI-100 to 10,000, SI-10,000, SI-100,000, SI-1 million is the phalanx. That's what we just saw. Yes, and this is so much. God, this is so dense. Like, they pack so much into this story and world building. It's like, you need these info. As much as I kind of complain about these, you could not convey this. You'd have to have like 12 issues. So phalanx is what showed up, and phalanx decide whether or not these societies have reached a certain point where they can ascend to become one with their massive technocracy, or whether to get purged by the technarchs that they've created, which are over here. It's all complicated mumbo jumbo. I assure you it makes sense when you read the book, but it, like I said, it's very dense. And then here we see the, in case you needed it, the machine, hive, intelligence, technarch, world mind, phalanx. And then we get Stan's soapbox. Rest in peace, Stan. You're the man, buddy. Forky agrees. You must see by now that there is no you and I. There is only us. We are together, or we are nothing. Professor X. And that concludes Powers of 10, Issue 2. So stay tuned for House of X number 3. Wait, what? Oh, no. Now it goes to Powers of X number 3. And then House 3, House 4. What kind of screwy reading order is this? This is stupid. This is stupid. All right. That's it. This book was back to square one as far as putting my finger on things. It's, at once you're reading it and you're just like, there's some moments where you're just like, oh, wow, what Nimrod has become, and the revelations of this Orcus group or whatever that's got the mother mold in space, and the X-Men got to do a mission, and then part of me is like, oh, God, I'm rooting for the X-Men to do this mission, But then I'm like, wait, this is the fascist X-Men that we saw in issue 1 that I hated. Are these guys not the villains anymore? What the hell is going on? Where the last issue in chronology, which was House of X number 2, was this big revelation, big game changer issue. This, it has sort of the same mind screw elements, but not in a good way. I feel it's very conservative. Well, not conservative. It's very confusing. It's convoluted. That's the word I'm looking for. And while I appreciate the density and the world building and the understanding what the Nimbus Project was and the X-Men during the different generations, right? You had the X-Men of year 1 versus the X-Men of 100 years in the future versus the 1,000 years in the future with this civilization, which we still don't fully understand. All of that's very interesting, but I want an actual. When are we going to get the character? When are we going to know who the characters are that we're rooting for? You know, like, I don't feel like we know who the characters are in this book. It's a tale about things, but it's not really a story. It's just, hey, let me tell you about this fake history, this imaginary history that I created. Okay. It's like, that's all interesting, but it's not a story. So I don't hate this book by any means. It's still solid. And in that last book, House of X number 2 did wonders for keeping me engaged in the storyline. But not a lot happened in this one, to be truthful. I feel a lot of it was kind of redundant, and I'm a little hypercritical on this because of the fact that this is 2 concurrent miniseries overlapping each other. Right? You're gonna sell me on 6 issues of House of X and 6 issues of Powers of 10, and then you're gonna have me read them alternating to get the whole story, and then sometimes you're gonna screw things up and be like, well, no, now you don't alternate, now you read. It's so stupid. This should have just been a 12-issue series, 1 through 12. Scratch that. We now see this redundancies. You probably could have done it in 9 issues. Scratch that. You could have just done this in the first 9 issues of the new X-Men. Right? X-Men 1 through 9 is this. And then whatever X-Men 1 is, picks up as X-Men X. There you go. See? I'm a genius. X-Men X. See how I did that? I used the X as a 10. I can do that too. Oh boy. But it's entertaining. And tell you what, if anything, whether you like this book or not or whatever, if anything, this book is getting people to talk about comics. To sit there and get on streams, to get in chat rooms and talk and theorize about what's going on, where they think it's going to go, what characters or what, why I think. That's a good thing. That's what X-Men used to be like. I love those days. That's not the only thing I valued X-Men for, but there hasn't been a comic in a long time that's really done that. There's been a couple of good comics, like, you got Batman White Knight, which is fantastic. It's a 5-star comic. But it doesn't have anyone talking. We're not sitting there going, ooh, did you see the Joker did this in the book? And we're just like, oh, wasn't it awesome? Yeah, the end of conversation. Like, but here it's like deciphering the complexities. What do you think this means? And where do you think it's going from here? And oh my God, the revelations. It's fascinating. That's what I'll say about this book. Overall, as just a comic book itself, where you're just going to pick up and read and your entertainment value, I'm going to say this is probably like a 3-star read, especially for $4.99. This isn't a $3.99 book. This is a $4.99 book. And because it costs more, it should be judged more critically. I'll give more of a pass. You charge me $1 for this, I'll be like, hell frickin' yeah. If this was an alternative book for $1.50, I'd be like, it's awesome. But it's not. It's $4.99. So therefore it has to get judged on that. And I'm going to say 3 stars. I hope you're really liking this, though. I am still intrigued. The hook is still firmly, in my mouth, and I'm being reeled in. So Forky gives his approval. This is not trash. Stan, unfortunately, cannot say that this is, this is not Make Mine Marvel. But it's close. It's got potential. So with that, I'm Ash on Comics. You've been watching me talk about a comic. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, put any comments you have down below. Talk to me about it. What am I missing? Did I miss something? You know, I'm not expert in everything. I misread things, and a lot of times, my fellow friends online, readers, watchers, whatever, show me things and be like, "You missed this," and I'm like, "Oh, thank you so much." Like it's part of why I do this. Is it enhances my ability to appreciate things when I don't catch something and someone points it out, or maybe there's some continuity bits that you're like, "Oh, but if you had read this series and all that," and like, "Oh, that's great. That enhances that a lot for me." So tell me, or if I'm saying too good, if I could do it. No, Ash, it's not even worth 3 stars. Tell me why. So I'm gonna get off now because I'm not gonna get off like that. You great sicko. Eric, put away the Milky Ways. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.